Does God exist? Is there a God? Why I believe there is. And my maybe strange take on it. I'm sure it's going to be strange because all my videos are strange, but hear me out or don't. We'll see. We'll see if this comes up with any value. I'm spitballing here. And I got the new mic for God. For God's sake, Mike. Is that blasphemy? All right. Stay on point, Steven. All right. So, recently where I've been leaning, I am the cliche case, full disclosure, where somebody fucked their life up. Drugs, sex, rock and roll, so all this lack of whatever, and then they go all Jesus, right? And I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about God. And I'm already like trying to devalue it. I don't know why I'm doing that, but all right, hear me out. I like two people's position. I am a plagiarist by heart. I'll admit it though. And I look at two people that I like. I love three. There's three people that have kind of, in the most godly way, like gotten me to see the light. No, see a perspective. Like Jordan Peterson, as far as his pragmatism, all these people are pragmatic. And brilliant in my opinion, and hugely different people. Okay, Norm Macdonald. I said Jordan Peterson. Start with Jordan Peterson. His position is, he was the one who first got me kind of really going. Okay, I'm listening because of. I mean, it's Jordan Peterson. The guy is absolutely brilliant. He's a absolute verbal savant, and I am so impressed. And yeah, he is a very impressive person. So the way he uses God and religion and storytelling, the way he basically uses archetypes and tells stories, got me kind of really kind of thinking about, you know, it's like, okay, that's a good person. He's very intelligent, and the way he creates stories that are like, it's not like you have to do this, you have to do that. It's like, this is why you do this. And being a clinical psychologist, it's like, so what a great poster, boy, lack of a better term, for religion, and more specifically just God and a higher power. And so that he got me kind of looking into it, and really big fan of Norm Macdonald. I honestly think that guy had he's the best example of the fear of God. I don't want to make this about, I mean, I'm making it about me, whatever. It's my video, but I got into him. I'm convinced that I always thought he was lame. That's the beauty of his subtlety and that Canadian kind of humor. That's very sweet, undertones of sweetness. He came off very, he came off very like, I didn't get it. And then towards his later years, I'm convinced that he knew he was going, and he did everything he could to be the best person he could be. And it's unbelievable how, he had every chance to make, when people were getting canceled, and, and he's getting canceled, and he stood up for other people. He didn't even stand up for himself. I mean, he did. He stood up for other people, but he could have said, I have cancer, and that would have been a weak move. That would have been a sympathy move. And he believed in something greater than himself. And I think that emanates outward in a way that I don't think you can really do without. I just don't think you can really do that kind of, be that kind of person without having some belief in something more than yourself. Because what ultimately do you have to fall back on when things get tough? Like, if you don't believe that, it's not about fear based. It's just about it's love based. You're like, I believe in like humanity and loving people and being a good person, and and that's easy to do until it's not, And anyway, his position was just intuition. Everything starts with intuition, and he kind of geniusly talked about Stephen Hawkins and how he's the premier physicist, and he said that God doesn't exist, and he's like, isn't that saying something, or saying you can't find something out with science? It's like, and science has always been wrong. It's, you're trying to figure something out, but it is always wrong. Like, so eventually you disprove things. But with God, it's like, it's intuition. And then of course I go to Tate, and I like his position because it's blunt and pragmatic. He's kind of like I kind of look at him as like the closest thing to like something in between of like some maybe like Dice Clay meets fucking George Carlin. I don't know. He's got very pragmatic, very blunt. I love that shit. And he goes about, don't even call it God, call it Santa Claus, call it higher universe, whatever. It's like, it's just, and then it's very, very simplistic. It's just like, if you did something, because it's all the power of the mind. And if you did something, and you believe in God, and that's what helped you through it, then doesn't that prove it exists? Like, and yeah, that's delusional, but delusion is, it's only delusion if you can prove that something doesn't exist. It's like, I don't know, like just believing in something, higher than yourself. I mean, this video is coming off a little bit spitbally, but I'm just going with it. Whatever. But, and I guess this is where I go on my own kind of path into understanding and feeling it. Like, even as a kid, I would call it making bets with God. I was like 7 or whatever, and I would just like ride around my bike, and I would like try and be like, if I ride around my bike, and I realize now that was kind of like probably a trauma response, but like I was, I would do things, and like if I go around in a circle 7 times, I'm like, and then someone comes out to come play, like, or someone comes out on my front door, then, then God is like, and just playing very early on, I was like playing games with like, whatever you call it, like like probabilities and gambling, like just, and like, fate, like just chance, right? And it's like, I don't know. There's some things that happen to people where it's like unexplainable. Like, if someone wins the lottery like 100 times in a row, like there's certain things that are just impossible. They're impossible statistics. Like, it's impossible to happen, and it happens in life. And people just go, well, that's just the universe, right? Which is, again, I don't give a shit about, and this is a good segue into this, I don't give a shit about, religion. Like, it's not about, the religion part. It's like, the God, it's personal. And I think that's how it started. This is my kind of biggest position, just in my gut telling me that God's real, is because why is it so much? People are dying over this. People are getting killed over this. And like, and from the beginning of time, people have gotten murdered in the name of God. And it's like, how much more clear can it be that that's something in us that is so important to believe, because we understand we're limited on earth, and that's something that's so deep seated. And my genuine like gut, I don't know, no one knows, but like, it just feels right to be like, it's like, just seems like human beings ruined, it's just like anything. It's like, that people feel strongly about, it just like becomes, because people have strong views, it becomes an issue. And that might be the best example of something that we feel so strongly about being ruined. And it only takes, it's probably the first thing people figured out. It's like, oh, we're in tribes. Okay, we were creating civilization. We have a little, we can store food, whatever. There's like a time frame of like technology, and like, okay, now we can think more. We have more time to think. And then you have more time to think, you have more time to understand. And when you have more time to understand, it's always balanced. And it's like eventually you're able to manipulate people because we become very smart and we're standing upright and all this shit. And we get to that point, I mean, my gut tells me it's somewhere around, I'm literally spitballing here, but like whenever we had time as human beings to actually, what we know now as society, as soon as that was like happening, it's like, this is going to be, people are going to laugh because I know there's historic people or like people that know time frames, right? But this is kind of the point, is like everything, like someone had to have passed that down. Even the things that said we're Neanderthals that became, whatever. Whenever we became whatever we were in evolution, blah, 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 at this time, you're having faith into really trying to like, there's no way that that's 100% accurate. Having said that, whenever, in my gut, we had a little bit of extra time and it wasn't just survival. We weren't polyamorous fucking, just, trying to keep going in tribes and stuff. And we started to think about ourselves and thinking, and then it's the ego, and that's like, we just began to, and then you can, what I'm beating around the bush about is, I think religion is man-made. And I mean, I don't know. Because, and if it's not, it might as well be, because at this point, I think we need to evolve. We've evolved past whatever these systems are of religion, because it's gone so far away from the point. And it's really just like an internal thing. That's what God is. Like it's faith. It's the opposite of what religion has become, and a lot of society, and that it's very me and I believe and you should, and it's like that's the opposite, because that's the difference. And if like everyone is worried about what happens, right? That's, I think, in everyone's, if they're honest and they take a second and they answer that question of what are you most afraid of, is what happens when you're gone. I've personally been through enough. I know a lot of people have, but I realize there's a lot more pain. There's a lot more things to be afraid of in this life than death. That's what I know to be true. Yeah. So and then that fear becomes a way to manipulate people. It's, to me, it's just like, that's a logical conclusion. It could be, hair loss, fucking marketing. It could be, acne cream. It could be like, there's things that people prey on for fear. And that's like, to me, that's just the logical conclusion of religion. It's like a logical, introduction to religion was just like, the 10 Commandments, whatever. I got this on the whatever, and I don't follow religion at all. It's all movies, Jordan Peterson, and like what people tell me. I've not read so full disclosure, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is kind of, I guess my point is like, you can know too much, maybe too. Like, I don't know. I know you can about certain things. I've gone too deep in a lot of topics, and it doesn't make your life better, I would say. So, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be educated, but anyway, yeah. So I those three guys, like, that's, I'm just an idiot on the internet, but like I really do like I like those perspectives. I like just the pragmatic, um, and it's just like, man, George Carlin was my favorite of all time, and I really did love his bits on religion, and he was right, you know, like he's right about. I mean, I agree with pretty much everything he said, I think he missed it with religion, and it's kind of a proof in the pudding situation. It's like the optics of Carlin was towards the end was very cynical, and he cared so much. Like he was a loving guy. He just had his way of dealing with it, you know, being raised with a narcissistic mother and having very, very, very strong views on truth and things that you can prove because, you know, when you grow up like that, you got gaslighting, you got just toxicness, and, you know, he's just a, you know, really, really deep truth seeker, and he really cared about people. I look at him as a philosopher, and I think, you know, that anger got the best of him, and it's almost like that's another position I have is like, why are atheists? Because he was an atheist, and you know, agnostic is like 100% almost opposite to me with atheist, because atheist is that's the strongest view against God. Like it's like I know there is no God, and when you go that route, it's like okay, well now we're talking about it's essentially religion. It's essentially a well, I shouldn't say religion, but it has all of the anyway. When you when you get to atheists, again talking about George Carlin, it's like it seems to me that it's like always like a very it's either an angry or like the position, like the demeanor and the you know it's like why does somebody who knows there's no God care so much about the topic? It's like unless they're just I mean in Carlin's case he was raised Catholic. I feel like a lot of people that go that way are raised with um you know strict upbringings, and religion might might mess them up. A lot of people growing up with Christianity end up just being atheist and just end up going the opposite way, and it's like I think yeah you it seems to like it's very like into like very intellectual, very you know Christopher Hitchens and like these guys, you know, just like it's not coming from any place of like, you know what I mean? It's egocentric. It's like coming from a place of like, I know, but you can't know, you can't. There's no evidence. Like I don't know. I just so that's the point of the video. Try out the mic. Try out the new mic. Talking about a really heavy subject, potentially heavy subject for some people. I don't really should be heavy. Shouldn't be. I'm just talking about God, the universe, Santa Claus, Bugs Bunny, whatever you want to call it, Elmer Fudd, uh, just a higher, just outside, just the universe is probably the best way to say it. I believe in the universe. I believe in the you know eternal, the divine, like something outside myself that I believe I am taken care of. Like I believe we're all taken care of. I believe. I mean, like when you're a kid, right? There's so much garbage in this freaking world. It's created by people. It doesn't have to be in here. But when you're a kid, it's like pure. You know what I mean? The pure, the holding a stick. I don't think kids do it today, but running around with a stick, just adventure and possibilities, and that mental mind of like pure love and freedom and hope um I it's just like you know that's why I think it's like kids can kind of grasp that better as well as like older people because it's like you're not in that like you know there's like that societal like rat race that just kind of makes people you know cynical and you get a bunch of you know like especially nowadays we're just fighting all the time. It's so stupid. It's a waste of time. We're not going to be here forever. Soapboxing aside, but yeah, I just yeah And here's my other take on it is like, I come from, a lot of, whatever, very left of the center, very kind of like subculture, community. It's very atheist or whatever, very like, well, I guess traditionally, like very just, let's call it counterculture or whatever traditionally. And it's like, and, definitely coming from a framing, I'd say one common denominator of this community is like a liberal, which is now like very anti-God position. I guess maybe it always was, but now I think it manifested differently into like a way of like, it's weird. I'm not trying to get into like politics, but it seems that now everything's connected. Politics are religious at this point. So at least the way people hang on to ideas is like it's same. It's like worse than religion. And there's a lot of like open, free, like as far as like sexual stuff and like drugs and things that I historically like very open minded, and I still am, but I think there's a line in which like you can go too far and things can become pathological where actually like objectively damaging yourself and enabling other people and just creating like this. I mean, Rome and whatever, there's all these periods of time where, people, kind of fall apart. And if you don't have like, what do you believe in? Like it, I mean, to me, it's like if all those people just were afraid of God and thought they were going to go to hell, then they wouldn't have done that. Then everyone would be less hurt and less heartbreak and less, addiction and less mental health issues and less like pain and lack of like. There's so much damage that can be done when you just act however the fuck you want to, however you want, or whoever you want to act to, and I don't know. I don't really, as I say that, it's like, that's not a good reason to believe in something. That's back to religion. So I kind of take that back. But I'm just saying that if, and this is my argument to certain atheists that I know, that's like, if everything, ultimately, if humanity is always in a cycle of like enlightenment and degeneracy, it's like, and there's some people that can just handle life and they don't have to have religion. I think that that's not the average person. Like, so if it is true that at large we need something to fall back on, like just for the sake of argument, if society needs like again, this all comes back to like LGBT is religious. Like we need as humans, you just need to believe in something. You have to have a path and you have to have something. And we just changed the name of it. But it's in us. And another reason that God exists, like, it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. This came off a little less direct than I thought, but like I said, I'm just gonna keep posting stuff and I'm just trying to work stuff out here. And yeah, yeah, religious people that believe in God seem to be a lot happier nowadays than the other side. And it's like people, to me, it feels like people are like sticking their heels in, and just sticking, holding their guns sticking to their guns as far as like their belief. And it's just like, you call yourself progressive and it's like you're doing the opposite. It's like really, really, and that, to me, that's, everyone thinks it's not going to happen to them until it happens to them. In other words, like, I think in Germany, I think of like these very dystopian times in humanity, in the 40s. I think about whatever, like, you know, the communist days. We're never going to see that again, but we're going to see a different version. We're having a new. There's going to be there's going to be a new version of capitalism, a new version of communism, but it's not going to be. Everyone thinks it could just be what it was back then. It's not. But we're in this crossroads now, and it's like, having said that about, like, you know, especially the left, it's like, like, people start acting weird when they get afraid, and backing up. Just, that's, to me, like, that's the darkness. That's like the epitome of bad, is when people do things and they think they're doing they're being the, when bad is done and is enabled, bad things are done, and people, not only do they think they're doing the right thing, but they're afraid to do anything else. Like, it's like a virus in your mind. Like, that is so similar to back in the, you know, in Germany, you know, it's like, and it's, to me, is why I'm so scared of, is like, it's the only way, and this is what Carlin said, and it's like, it's the only way you could ever do that, is to do it from a fake virtue, and act like, and create these, I mean, there's a reason you can't say, like, even when you go, like, LGBT is like evil. It's like, it is. You're creating something that is often pretending that um, you're doing something to help people, and there are people that are, but that happens naturally. We protect each other. We don't have to create, like, teams. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to create these teams and, like, protect people that, not protect people, like, but like pseudo protect, like pretend. I don't know. I ended this video kind of poorly, but especially it came off totally wrong. It's not, but there's just so much, you know, and that's another, I guess, idea I have a position about, is like, and maybe kind of where religion, and I guess that's where the fighting comes in, is like, when people try and pick religions, like, for example, like, that's a team, like, very leftist LGBT, and it's like they're not on the same team. All those people are so different, and it's like, now that's a fight. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I gotta end this video. I just start spacing out. All right, whatever. Bye.